Hi guys, welcome back to The Contented Plant. Today I have a Raven ZZ plant that my super sweet cousin, she bought this a few months ago and she said that I could divide it so I can have a little Raven ZZ plant for myself. I'm very excited. If you guys know anything about these plants, the ZZ plants are everywhere, but the Raven variety, which has these darker leaves, is actually pretty hard to find. She happened to be lucky and she came across it in one of the big box stores and she scooped it up. So let's split this adorable little plant. So I'm going to use a cactus and succulent mix. This is technically a succulent plant. It's very drought resistant and the soil needs to be really well draining. If it has water that sits around the roots, it is susceptible to root rot. So make sure you have the proper succulent mix and also a pot with a drainage hole. So this plant has a little separation right here on the corner, and this is the spot that I'm going to try and take without stressing this plant out too much. Normally I would not try and divide a plant this small. It's a little bit small to be doing this, but I think it's going to be just fine. Because they're so hard to find, we're going to just take a chance on it, and I'm going to gently split out this section here, and then I will repot the rest of this back to give it back to my cousin. Some of my audio cut out, so I'm going to pop in here and do a voiceover real quick. You can see those beautiful roots and the rhizomes that are just sticking right above the dirt level. When I repot this plant, I'm going to make sure that they're sitting about an inch above the soil. It's possible I may need to slice the rhizome, and for that I have a very sharp knife that has been sterilized with rubbing alcohol. Also, you need to have a little tiny pair of scissors just in case any of those roots look a little bit suspicious, like they're getting rot on them. Always make sure that your tools are sterilized when you're cutting open your plant. So what I'm going to do is just gently take this dirt away with my fingers so I can see what we have going on here. I don't just want to yank this apart. So I got really lucky with this plant. I have the rhizome sitting off by itself in the corner. I did not need to cut that rhizome at all. I was able to gently work the roots away. You can see that it's sitting off to the side here. There's about 3 roots that are intertwined with that rhizome and the mother plant, and I just used my fingers and very gently untangled those roots from the main plant. So that was really simple. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Here is the one that I am going to take and repot. You can see it has that rhizome right there, and it has those beautiful fleshy roots right on the bottom. They are in really good shape. This plant does not have any root rot that I can see. And the plant that I'm going to put back, the original mother plant, has plenty of these little rhizome structures that sit right at the top of the plant. And then the roots kind of grow down to the bottom. So this is a great way to take a look at this plant and see the structure of it. These rhizomes hold all of the water extra storage. So if there is a period of drought, this plant will survive off the water that sits in those rhizome tubers. So I can see the big box store already had it in a succulent mix, and that's basically what I'm going to do is repot it back in with this organic cactus and succulent mix. Again, for a ZZ plant, the well draining soil is very much needed. So I have this pot here. It has a drainage hole. Honestly, it might be a little bit big for this guy that I have going on here, but I think it'll be okay. I'm just going to water it extremely carefully. If you overwater this in a really big pot, it can let excess water sit around those roots. But I will just be extra careful until it kind of grows to the size of the pot. Normally I would like a little bit smaller pot, but I don't have one right now, so we're going to make this one work. I do want to mention one other thing real quick. You can see this kind of looks like a cute little potato. It actually feels like a potato. It looks just like a little white potato. If I did need to cut this rhizome, what I would have done instead of just immediately repotting it, if you make a slice in it, you need to let it sit for an hour or 2 and let that wound callus over before you just go ahead and repot it, and that will help keep bacteria away from it. Also will help it avoid rotting. So if you have to cut the rhizome, make sure that you let your plant sit out and callus over for a little bit. I didn't have to cut it, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and repot it right into my new pot. So you can see I'm just kind of packing that dirt really gently around the bottom here. These roots actually have quite a bit of structure to them, which is nice. They're not super fragile roots, so they go down into the soil pretty easily. And I'm just working it around the base here. And as I mentioned earlier, I am gonna leave this rhizome popping out just about an inch above the soil. That does not need to be completely buried for this plant. Okay, so as you can see, it's sitting right here at the top, and I have my new little division of the Raven ZZ sitting right in here. This plant can also be propagated with water propagation. However, I have heard that it can rot. I've never tried it myself, but because it is a very drought resistant plant, I have heard of people having issues when they take a stem cutting with those stem cuttings rotting in the water. So it's just as easy to divide the plant if you have a plant available to you that you can divide. Otherwise, you can try and take a stem cutting. I think you can even do leaf propagation where you divide the leaf out, but again, I've never tried that and it does seem a little more advanced than I'm ready to do right now. So I will stick with my root division. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I'm gonna go ahead and plant the other plant back into its pot. But I think we successfully divided out this cute little Raven ZZ plant. Okay, so we now have 2 Raven ZZ plants here. I'm extremely excited. This one's probably gonna go in my bedroom where it's a little bit lower light. Let's talk really quick about some of the neat points with this plant. You can see this is new growth here, and you can see it's kind of really light green. And when the new growth comes up, it comes up with this really light green color, and then it slowly turns into this dark raven color over time that is just so pretty. So it's a really cool plant, extremely easy to take care of. Honestly, you just wanna wipe the leaves every once in a while if they're accumulating dust, and water it very sparingly. It can go quite a while without being watered. It's not one that you need to be really picky with the watering schedule. I would make sure that you're watering it at least once every 2 weeks. Do the soil test, put your finger down in there, and make sure if the soil is not moist that you just give it a nice thorough watering every couple weeks. Other than that, I think that's all I have on the Raven ZZ plant and its propagation by division. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I would love to know if you have one of these plants and how you like it. We will see you next time at the Contented Plant. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.